Hello everyone, in this video, we are going to look at a particular position under the Queen's Gambit decline with the white pieces that I'm pretty sure that many of the players who plays in the club level must be encountering this position or this kind of position many often. So the purpose of this video is to simply discuss what are the plans and how to continue with the white pieces. Today's game we are going to discuss is simply going to be extremely phenomenal and very educational for all the viewers watching the video. So must share this video with your friends. So I don't want to waste any further time, so let's start. So we have two strong players playing against each other. With the white pieces we have a grandmaster, and with the black pieces we have a 2000 strong rated player. This game was played in 2015. So white starts with 1d4. Knight to f6, knight f3, e6, d5, knight c3, c6. Pretty common opening, bishop g5, knight to bd7, e3, and now we have the move bishop to e7. Here black can also play the move queen f5, and this opening is known as the Cambridge spring. But okay, we have bishop e7, rook c1, short castle, bishop d3. So what is white doing? White is simply following some basic fundamentals of chess, developing each and every piece. Bishop d3, h6, bishop h4, and here black decided to take the pawn as white has already moved the bishop. b5, bishop d3, bishop b7, short castle, and now we have the move a6. So we are going to discuss this particular position. I'm pretty sure that maybe many of the viewers already watching this video must have encountered this particular type of structure in their games often, and they must be looking something like how to continue this position, what should be the idea. So talking about black's idea is to play the move c5 and open up the bishop, and once black is able to achieve c5 at the right time, black is extremely happy, and we can already say that black has already equalized the position. So after e6, to stop c5, what white did in the game was, he first took the knight on f6, and now here black simply captured the bishop with the knight. If black captured the bishop with the bishop, knight e4 is already a very strong move. The basic point here is, first of all, you can't play c5 because I can capture the pawn. And second, you can't play rook c8 because knight d6 is extremely strong, and after takes you simply lose the pawn as well. So going back, if you try to play bishop e7 you can, but it doesn't really help much. Okay, so going back, that's why after bishop into f6, black decided to capture the bishop with the knight, which is the most principled way. And after knight into f6, white played a strong move, which is to play knight to e4. The idea is pretty clear. Like in the game we had knight into e4. What's the idea? For example, if first of all black can't really push the pawn because we can happily capture the pawn. So if black tries to play rook c8, threatening to push the pawn to c5, already knight to e5 is a very strong move. Why? What's the idea? We want to play the move knight c5, but the problem here is after bishop takes, rook takes, black is having this knight d7 attacking the rook. But going one move ahead after knight e5, for example, just taking a random move like king h8. Now if I say knight c5, bishop c5, rook c5, knight d7, here white can already capture the knight, and now white can already put maximum pressure on the c6 pawn, and we can already say white is winning the game. So that's the whole point of playing the move after rook c8. This is the whole point of playing the move knight to e5. So yeah, that was the reason black decided to capture the knight. Bishop takes, threatening to win the pawn. So black played rook c8, and now we have the move knight to e5. Triple attacking the pawn on c6. So black played the move bishop to d6. And now white played the move f4. So already if you, for example, go for capturing the pawn, for example like bishop into c6, bishop into e5 is a very strong move. After bishop into b7, rook c1, queen c1, bishop h2, takes, queen b8 check, king g1, and this position is already a drawish position because the material is even. And if you try to capture the pawn with the knight, already bishop into h2 still works in this position, as after king h2, black is having this queen h4 check, at the same time collecting the bishop. For example, king g1, queen takes this, and like fortunately you can say, like this check is not really working. You can't really capture the rook because white is already having a mate in one on g2. So that is the whole reason you can't really go for capturing the c6 pawn. So after bishop d6, what white did was pretty clear. White pushed the pawn to f4, cementing the knight on e5 and now threatening to win the pawn. So black didn't have much because white can also put more pressure via queen f3. So black decided to capture the knight. Takes, and this position is already better, way better, I would say winning for white, because first of all white is having the open f5. White is the one attacking on the c6 pawn. The bishop on b7 is extremely bad compared to the bishop on e4. White is having the semi-open c file, and you can say like the odds are completely reversed now. So after f into e5, if like in the game we had f5, white simply unpassant. Rook checks. If you capture with the pawn, black is already having a very bad pawn structure, and queen h5 is literally winning. So that's why rook in 2 is the only move, and now we have queen h5. And now we have the move queen to f8. If black tries to trade off the rooks, it only helps white as black is having extremely poor pawn structure, and at the same time black king is extremely weak. So that's why we have queen f8, and now finally white decided to capture the rook as well. If you try to capture with the pawn, already rook f1 and putting maximum pressure on these pawns, and it's completely winning for white. So that's exactly what happened in the game. And if you try to capture with the queen as well, still after rook f1, white is the one having the complete control. Queen to g6 is coming up, followed by queen h7, and the game is over. So that's why we had g into f6, and now simply rook f1 was played in the game. And here we have f5, check, king h8, and here white simply chop off the pawn, because you can't really capture the bishop because the queen would be hanging. So rook e8, and here simply rook into pawn. Takes, and eventually this position where white, you can say white is having, I guess, two pawns advantage, which was pretty much clear for white. So white first prevented black to capturing this pawn, and now activating the king as well, giving a check and capturing the pawn, giving up this pawn as this pawn is extremely strong. So black decided to go for that pawn, but c6, takes, and here after rook b6 on the move number 35, black decided to resign the game. The position is extremely clear. If you go for capturing this pawn, I can capture the pawn, give a check, put the rook behind the pawn, push the pawn. White is still having like 3 pawns advantage, which is completely winning, and you can't do really much. Like even if you don't really have much, I can simply push the pawn. I'm having just too much material to win the game. So yeah guys, this was the game. The queen GD. I believe that this position is very common for all the club levels, and I guess they wanted a way to play this position. I personally like this very amazing fact of first capturing the knight, just neutralizing black's effect, and getting this idea with a knight to e4, and just putting maximum pressure on the pawn on c6, and eventually getting the knight, pushing the pawn, and eventually getting white simply crushed black mercilessly, and white simply won the game. So yeah guys, that's it for today. If you learned anything new from this video, make sure to like the video, share this video with everyone, and make sure to subscribe to our channel if you are new to our channel. It's free for you, but it helps us to motivate to make more videos like this. So I'm going to see you soon. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching OneShot Chess.